The hero never expected this. He had sworn to protect these three beautiful maidens, but they joined his adventuring party, all to kill him. Point one was Shur, the demon princess, another, Monet, a human professional assassin, and the third, Goya, a potion master who wanted to turn the hero into her pet dog. At first, due to his severe social anxiety, the hero's adventuring party had only consisted of himself. Then, one day, three beautiful maidens simultaneously asked to join his group. Just as he was about to agree, one girl started acting all cute and clingy, wrapping him in a hug that instantly made him pass out. He had zero resistance to women, and any excitement caused him to faint. Upon hearing this, the three maidens saw their chance. The demon princess cast a spell, snatching the hero away first to carry out her assassination plan. The other two women immediately gave chase. The assassin Monet fired her gun, aiming to shoot Shur down. Shur had to cast another spell to create a protective sphere, forcing herself to land. She wanted to confront the others about their motives. Meanwhile, Goya secretly opened a vial of potion and stepped between them, pretending to be a negotiator. Seconds later, the drug took effect, and the two quickly found their bodies unable to move. Just as Goya began to gloat over her trophies, the magic Shur had summoned earlier was forcibly disrupted by the potion, causing the summoned monster to go berserk. With a cloud of smoke, a dark spider dragon appeared. In this critical moment, the hero, who had fainted earlier, woke up. The three women were utterly stunned by his power and spontaneously expressed their gratitude, only to have him faint again the moment they touched him. Since all three wanted to assassinate him alone, they decided to go to town for a meal first and plot their schemes gradually. At the restaurant, the three laid out their identities and motives. Shur revealed she'd been sent by the Demon King to assassinate the hero. Monet stated she was a killer after the bounty on his head. Goya admitted she was bored and wanted to turn him into a pet. After hearing everyone's claims, Monet surprisingly announced she was quitting, deeming the mission too difficult. She left but sneaked to a spot overlooking the dessert shop, vowing to kill the hero first for the reward. As she took aim, she noticed a slave trader selling a young girl. Monet slipped into the alley, tossed a smoke bomb, rescued the girl, and gave her a pouch of gold coins to start a new life. After the girl happily left, the slave trader revealed himself as a goblin, demanding compensation. Monet attacked, a close-range slash missed, so she followed with a roundhouse kick, sending the goblin crashing into a wall. Enraged, the goblin unleashed its trump card, countless tentacles lashing out. Though Monet dodged, she was dismayed to find the tentacles regenerated when cut, and the severed parts attacked independently. "This is nothing," the goblin taunted, "they'll only multiply." Before it could finish, the hero teleported in, punching the goblin to death. "I'll always protect you," he said, making Monet's face flush, especially since she'd intended to kill him. To hide her embarrassment, she blew him a kiss. As he fainted again, Monet activated her enhancement magic to strike him but cancelled it, torn by his earlier rescue. The others, who'd caught up, watched in disbelief. Goya suggested they all rest at a hotel, but she'd only booked one room, causing the hero to faint yet again. The princess and assassin made excuses to leave, leaving Goya alone with the hero. Goya injected him with a special potion and went to bathe. When she returned, he was still out cold. She tried whipping him awake, but he didn't react. After persistent effort, he finally moved, but the potion had failed. Instead of becoming her pet, he seemed in control. Strangely, Goya began to enjoy this dynamic. The man just opened his eyes and was immediately surrounded by three charming girls, their faces close to his, but he had no idea that their only mission was to kill him. The distance was too close. Toto fainted on the spot with a nosebleed. To embark on the adventure, the four of them came to the Adventurers Guild together. Faced with the staff's questions, Toto was so nervous that he couldn't even speak clearly. When he saw his name written in the captain column, he was even shocked and couldn't believe it. They only got the lowest E-class adventurer's certificate. To upgrade their level, they had to start from the lowest level tasks, such as slaying slimes or gathering herbs, and accumulate experience step by step. But the three girls had no interest in that. What they really wanted was only Toto's head. Anemone suggested that there was no need to take risks. They could just kill everyone right now and the mission would be over. Sheer proposed a more challenging plan. The three of them would take turns to assassinate Toto within one day, and no one else was allowed to interfere. This proposal was unanimously approved, and they even decided the order of the assassinations by playing rock paper scissors. Toto was completely unaware of this. He was still worrying about how to be alone with Sheer. Gathering his courage, he blurted out the strange words, "I want to take her on a luxury cruise." Sheer seized the opportunity to ask him, "Why did you become Toto? Was it for fame or money?" Toto nervously replied, because of his scar and shyness, he had always been unable to communicate with people confidently. He hoped that after defeating the Demon King, he could gain the courage to talk to people normally. This resonated with Sheer, who also longed to stand on her own feet. Toto sincerely cheered for their common goal, but he didn't know that the person Sheer really wanted to kill was him. When Toto apologized for always fainting, Sheer gently said, "Because you are protecting me." This short sentence made Toto so happy that he fainted again. Soon, the other two returned with the task of collecting iron ore in the spring cave. Here, it would become Sheer's stage for assassination. Anemone sneered, suspecting that Sheer had developed feelings and dared not act. Sheer retorted without hesitation, she was crazy. Entering the dark and damp cave, Tot felt strangely calm. He walked in the front, leading the way for everyone. The three girls behind began to discuss Sheer's assassination methods. Goya guessed she would summon a dragon, but Sheer said that for a novice like Tot, the most classic monster would be enough. Just as she spoke, a slime appeared before them. Anemone scoffed, thinking that this thing couldn't even kill a villager. How could it deal with Tot? Sure enough, Tot easily smashed them with a few punches. But this was exactly Sheer's key. She found that Tot only attacked with his fists, which meant he was a pure physical fighter. And the biggest weakness of pure physical attacks was that they were powerless against enemies with physical resistance. Slimes were such monsters. Ordinary slimes could be forcibly smashed. But what if it was the fused slime emperor? Sheer immediately chanted a spell, fusing all the slimes and summoning the huge slime emperor. She wanted to witness with her own eyes whether Tot's fists could have any effect on this ultimate physical defense. Tot threw a punch, but it had no effect. The next second, he was tightly wrapped by the slime's tentacles. A smile appeared at the corner of Sheer's mouth. Those who were wrapped would be slowly devoured. Tot was doomed. But at this critical moment, Tot actually lifted the huge slime up. His body still couldn't break free, but he roared with rage. The terrifying sound waves instantly shattered the slime emperor. The three girls were stunned. They began to wonder if this man could really be killed. The assassination attempt on Shell failed, and the four of them continued to complete the mining task. Tot once again exceeded their expectations. He didn't need any tools at all. With just his fists, he easily broke through the rock wall and extracted a large amount of iron ore. They returned with more ore than the task required, and the weapons shop owner was full of praise for Tot, looking forward to his future performance. But this joy was quickly shattered by a passing D-rank adventurer who mocked Tot as an E-rank novice and tried to poach the three girls for his team. These words deeply hurt Tot. He understood that even with his powerful strength, in the eyes of others, he was still a weakling who struggled with low-level tasks. He sincerely thanked his three teammates for choosing him and solemnly promised that in order not to be abandoned by them, he would become a stronger and more reliable hero. Looking at his determined eyes, the three girls' feelings were extremely complicated. Naive Tot was still making promises for the future of the team, not knowing that this adventure journey was a carefully planned scam from the very beginning. Shell's plan had failed. Who would be the next to carry out the assassination? Facing this enigmatic man, their path of assassination was bound to be full of uncertainties. The man thought that being surrounded by three stunning beauties was a stroke of good fortune, but he had no idea that every day these three ladies were deciding by rock, paper, scissors who would take his life. The previous assassin, sure, failed. The right to the next assassination will be decided by rock, paper, scissors. Goya had an incredible stroke of luck and successfully won the qualification for this assassination. Soon, Goya sent the other two companions away, creating an opportunity to be alone with Tot. Faced with this sudden two-person world, the innocent Tot was a bit at a loss. He stammered and asked why there were only the two of them. Goya took the opportunity to make a date invitation, suggesting they go on a food tour together on his first date. Tot's mind went blank. He nervously reminded himself that this was just a guard duty and not to get carried away. Goya, seeing his innocent look, playfully took his hand and started this date. That was actually a hunting mission. Meanwhile, the other two teammates were leisurely enjoying their own food tour at the back. They were sure that Goya's plan wouldn't work, so they were happy to have a relaxing time. Goya took Tot to a rather charming tavern. Then, he secretly put some specially made medicine in Tot's drink. She then invited Tot to drink together. Then he urged him to drink the wine in the cup in one gulp. Tot drank it up without a moment's hesitation. However, the drug in the wine seemed to have no effect. Tot felt extremely nervous under Goya's gaze and racked his brains to think of something to break the silence. Eventually, he had a brilliant idea.
君の選んだお酒、とっても美味しいよ。素敵な人が選んだお酒は、やっぱり素敵なんだね。やだ、勇者ちゃんこそ素敵。Yes, that's right.
However, in the end, he still couldn't bring himself to speak. When her first plan failed, Goya came up with another one. She served up carefully prepared appetizers. The first was skewers of habby with a confusion agent, which would make the eater feel disoriented and agitated. The second was a sandwich laced with a powerful sleeping pill, enough to put someone to sleep for a whole week. However, after Tot ate them, he simply said, "Delicious." With genuine appreciation, Goya was completely stunned. Her proud knowledge of potions had no effect on Tot, which made her feel a sense of defeat she had never experienced before. Remembering that her seduction magic had also seemed to have no effect on him that night, she was desperate. Goya decided to use her last trump card. She made an insulting demand. She hoped that Tot would devote his entire being to her and become her loyal servant. Upon hearing this, Tot's face showed signs of pain and he refused her request with great difficulty. Goya was extremely sad and burst into tears immediately, thinking that Tot disliked her. However, the scene that followed completely stunned Goya. Tot, suppressing immense mental pressure, explained with utmost sincerity. He told Goya that the three teammates, including her, were more important to him than his own life. This heartfelt confession hit Goya right in the softest spot of her heart like a heavy hammer. After saying these words, Tot fainted due to extreme mental tension. At this moment, all of her murderous intent vanished. When Tot woke up, Goya had returned to her usual self but secretly blew him a kiss. This became a little secret between them. This unexpected treat made Tot faint from happiness once again. Goya's first assassination attempt ended in complete failure, but she seemed to enjoy it. Seeing the two return so close, the other two teammates were filled with jealousy. Anemone immediately declared that it was her turn to carry out the mission today. She confidently stated that this ridiculous journey would end today. The next day, Anemone took Tot away alone under the pretext of collecting herbs. The usually taciturn girl remained silent throughout the journey. Tot was also extremely nervous because it was the first time they were alone together, and the atmosphere was very awkward. At this moment, on the other side, Goya and Sheer were enjoying dessert when they were interrupted by a group of unobservant bandits. Facing the provocation, the two beauties didn't even bother to get up. Their calmness and contempt completely enraged the bandit leader. He introduced himself, claiming to be the former B-rank adventurer, Chain Scythe Zack. However, the two beauties looked blank. It was obvious that they had no idea about the ranks of adventurers. Zack was instantly infuriated and charged forward, brandishing his chain. The outcome was predictable. In front of two genuine top assassins, he didn't even manage a single move. Cheryl quickly subdued Zack, while Goya used magic to control his subordinates, turning them into willing servants. To avoid revealing their true strength, Goya lit a specially made incense, erasing everyone's memory of them from their minds. On the other side, Anemone, to break the awkwardness, took the initiative to ask Tot about the scar on his face. Tot confessed that it was left by a monster attack. That disaster had cost him everything, his hometown, his family, and his confidence. He set out on a journey merely to regain his confidence and prove that he had a reason to live. These words touched Anemone, who had nothing left either. She watched Tot's back, her heart filled with mixed emotions. Just then, Tot fainted again due to being too close to a girl. Anemone seized the opportunity and declared her assassination intention. "I'll be the one to confirm your worth." She took out her special weapon, a level bomb. The power of this bomb would increase with the target's strength and could not be deactivated once installed. She placed the bomb on the unconscious Tot, and it began to expand rapidly, soon turning into a huge sphere. Unexpectedly, Tot had such terrifying power. If the giant bomb exploded, even she would be affected. She rushed forward and cut the bomb with a knife, then woke Tot up and told him to throw it away. Looking at the huge object about to explode, Tot didn't hesitate and threw the bomb as far as he could, but it was too late. The bomb exploded in mid-air, a destructive shockwave swept over, and Anemone was terrified, thinking she was surely going to die. However, a broad arm held her tightly, shielding her from all the harm. Anemone was unharmed, and the Tot who protected her was also safe and sound. He was only heartbroken over the destroyed herbs, completely unaware that he had just narrowly escaped death. Anemone was thoroughly shocked, a bomb powerful enough to flatten half a mountain. Yet it couldn't even scratch him. This man's strength had far exceeded their imagination. 2 attempts at assassination, 2 failures. Tot was unscathed, but the women's hearts were in turmoil.